You guys know I don't make consecutive videos on a topic unless the topic is giant. Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way right now. This Blake Griffin news is much more than giant. It's giant news that comes with scary consequences. A lot of you guys are probably confused about what I'm talking about. Well, I'll get into that in just a second. Before we go any further, I have a very important announcement to make. Basketball Arena, the sponsor of this video, is hosting a $50,000 cash prize tournament, meaning you could win up to $50,000. Basketball Arena is the super fire app that lets you hoop on your phone and build your own team. Every character is customizable and has their own advantage. I recommend you guys to get the characters with a lot of energy because energy is so important in this game. Every movement consumes energy. Losing energy makes your players way less effective. The movements in this game are awesome. You can dunk, you can dash, you can block shots, and you can also pull up from deep. Oh yeah, and don't forget about the superpowers. When used right, they can be super effective. So I'm sure you guys are wondering about the $50,000 cash prize. In order to get in on this prize, all you have to do is be top 10 in biggest win streaks on the game. That means compiling wins without losing. It sounds tough, but if you lose, the process starts over. Everyone has a chance to win big. Be sure to add me on the app. My account name is Cooper Hoopers. Major shout out to Basketball Arena for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk hoops. Today, Woj reported that free agent Blake Griffin has agreed to a deal with the Brooklyn Nets for the remainder of the season. For those of you that are confused, Blake Griffin got bought out by the Detroit Pistons a few days ago. Blake Griffin forfeited an unheard of $13.3 million to not have to play for the Detroit Pistons anymore. And that's not me slighting the Detroit Pistons, because I told you guys in my last video, I think Detroit's a great city and I think their team has a lot of promise. If you're sleeping on Sadiq Bey, it's time to wake up. If you're sleeping on Jeremy Grant, it's also time to wake up. If you haven't been watching what Dennis Smith Jr. has been doing, reviving his career in Detroit, then I'll tell you right now, you're simply missing out. Detroit isn't the biggest name, it doesn't have the most talent, but they have a roster that can play hard. They have a roster that can contend. Contend might not be the right word. I use contend in the sense of they can keep games competitive. They also have a roster that's incredibly young. Think about all the guys I just named. Throw in Killian Hayes, who's missed a ton of games and has gotten comparisons to D'Lo. Think about Sekou, who's got all this potential. Seems like he's been in the league 5 years. He's only 20. And then you got guys like Isaiah Stewart, only 19 years old, setting the tone. You guys know I love nothing more than a player that goes out, plays hard every night, and knows their role, and wants to build on that role to become a better player. I don't know if Stewart has been watching Ben Wallace highlights in the past, but this guy gets up there. He's had some nasty blocks. So yeah, me saying Blake Griffin forfeited $13.3 million to not be in Detroit isn't me slandering Detroit at all. It's me letting you guys know that Detroit doesn't make sense for Blake Griffin and didn't make sense for Blake Griffin. Detroit and Blake needed to go in two different directions, and they did. It took $13.3 million, but they finally split. In my last video, I made it known that I would have loved to see Blake go back to Los Angeles. I'm not talking about the Clippers. That's in the past. I would have loved to see Blake play for the Los Angeles Lakers. The narrative would have already been there. The Lakers and the Clippers don't exactly love each other, and this would have been a great way for Blake Griffin to get revenge on Steve Ballmer and the Clippers for trading him to Detroit. This wouldn't have just been a great way to get revenge. The fit would have made sense also. In my last video, I made it known I wanted Blake to play next to a great defensive center. In 2021, that great defensive center is no longer DeAndre Jordan. AD might not like playing center, but when you put Anthony Davis at the center position, the Lakers are an entirely different beast. That defense stuff, he plays a lot of it at a defensive player of the year type of level. AD at the 5 unlocks a different type of monster for the Los Angeles Lakers. On this channel, time and time again, you guys have heard me say The way to destroy small ball is with a skilled big man, and I believe that to this day. Anthony Davis has the perfect skill set to destroy small ball. He's your ideal small ball 5. Check this out. The Brooklyn Nets are imagining Blake Griffin as a small ball center option off the bench. I'm not sure how I feel about this because I like Blake Griffin, but I've never really envisioned Blake Griffin as a small ball 5. Let's talk cons. The Brooklyn Nets are going to ask Blake Griffin to do some things that he's not too familiar with doing. He's going to have to rebound the ball effectively, something that he hasn't done at a high rate since his rookie or sophomore year in the league. He did have a near 10 rebound year in 2014, but 2017 on, his rebounds have been all over the place. He's going to have to shoot the ball effectively. 31.5% from the three-point line isn't going to cut it, because if James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant are all on, defenses are going to be begging somebody that's not a part of that big three to shoot the ball, and it might just be Blake. Yeah, Blake may shoot you in some games, but how many games is 31.5% from the three-point line going to shoot you out of? Defensively, he's going to have to be an impact player. I don't think Brooklyn's going to look at him as a primary scoring option. If he wants to play, he's going to have to make winning plays on the defensive side of the basketball. I don't think the Nets are going to be asking Blake to anchor a defense, but he's going to have to be active and involved. More involved than he's been with the Detroit Pistons this season. Blake is 6'9", 6'10". At 6'9" and 6'10", you expect your small ball 5s to offer some defensive versatility. I'm not saying Blake can't be versatile on defense, but what I'm saying is he's going to have to lock in. This is going to be a new challenge for him. The Nets love to switch. A lot of these 6'9", 6'10" guys, again, extremely versatile. You look at Bam Adebayo, great rim protector, elite rim protector, also elite on-ball defender. You look at Draymond Green, great on-ball defender, good rim protector. You look at a lot of these 6'9", 6'10", 6'8" guys, they can guard multiple positions, they're quick, they can move their feet. Even if they're not shot blockers, they're fast enough to rotate to contest shots. Is Blake Griffin going to be able to do that at a reasonable rate for the Brooklyn Nets? Now that we got the tough stuff out of the way, we have to talk pros. Blake Griffin is still Blake Griffin. He hasn't forgotten how to score a basketball. A lot of people are talking about how bad he's been for Detroit. I point to motivation, and then I point to games like Cleveland. I point to games like Los Angeles, where he had 20 plus points, where he shot 50% from the three-point line on high volume, 8 of 16 from deep versus Cleveland, 5 of 10 from deep versus the Lakers. Blake is probably in a gym right now shooting the lights out of the ball, getting ready to accept his new role with the Brooklyn Nets. Blake just gave up $13.3 million. I'm not really worried about this guy being bought in. It's clear he came to Brooklyn to win a championship. In my mind, you're not forfeiting $13.3 million unless you're healthy, unless you're ready to prove some people wrong. Or unless you really think you're done and you just want that ring, but of course I don't think that's the case at all with Blake Griffin. I think Blake is somebody that's going to be playing for another contract. I've always felt that Blake Griffin's athleticism has overshadowed his true skill. It's hard to be mad at this move for Brooklyn because they don't really lose any assets. It's virtually a no-risk move that has giant upside for the team. And while it's virtually no risk for Brooklyn, I would say there's some terrifying downside for Blake Griffin. If Blake really was done, I think the Nets and other GMs would see that really fast in Brooklyn. As somebody that's played basketball at a very high level, when you don't have to focus on scoring, when you don't have to focus on being the guy, you have so much more energy to do virtually anything else on the floor. Part of me truly believes that Brooklyn is going to force a team to overreact at the trade deadline. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support this channel. I'm Get Like Coop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.